Okay, we should be live. Microphone working okay. Just check quickly. Sorry, keep using the same, what's called this thing? Thumbnail. Why can't I hear anything? It's not actually playing, is it? Oops. Almost spilled my cup. That's not good. Yeah, that's actually playing okay. So we have hello. I haven't shared the stream yet. This is, by the way, what my YouTube analytics looks like if anyone is interested. Interestingly enough, yes, some videos doing much better than others. Well, not interestingly, yes, it's normal. Do I get the shareable link for this one? Yeah, I get videos like that I think they call them evergreen or something, that they get views all the time and keeps increasing over time. So it's kind of videos that you wish that you would publish them earlier. Wanna join me live for a chat about anything? PT trained on. Post this quickly. Yeah, so just showing this. We'll be using Bard today, maybe Bing again. We used Bing yesterday, so might give a Bing a rest. Give Bing a Bing. Such a bad name. Not that Bard is much better. OpenAI is a great name, only if it was actually open. Yeah, you get videos like that die out after some time. Yeah, this one is doing well as well. Yeah, watch hours. There's sometimes all sorts of funky things, I'm pretty sure, caused by the algorithm or something. Yeah, you get them a lot in flicks like that, like artificial stuff. Yeah, maybe here as well. I don't know, it doesn't look very natural. And this video, I think the algorithm just kind of was promoting it, then kind of gave up on it. Yeah, you probably want to make sure watch time's doing kind of similar thing. Yeah, I get videos especially so for example, YouTube is promoting shorts, so it will do crazy things like that where the first 24 hours or something, obviously that's artificial, and then those videos just die out. Sometimes I'm getting like a cumulative view, and some other times it's like this funny daily daily thing going on. But anyhow, you get the picture. Let's get back to doing there's a couple things going on, as you can tell. There's this webcam thing. It's a code that we actually generated using it was ChatGPT or something. But apparently it's a standard thing to do using this holistic model in MediaPipe to recognize faces. It can also recognize whole body and recognize hands. Those are all separate algorithms that have been implemented here. Now we also doing this. Sign language. So with the finger recognition, the obvious use case would be recognizing sign language. So essentially, if someone signs on the camera, you will have a transcript running. So sign to text, or then you can use text to speech, so you can have sign to speech. That could be really handy. But coming across quite a lot of issues, there are errors and the like. We're trying to use Bart and Bing to mitigate those with some mixed success. Just a quick note on actually use Firefox for it. So a lot of these tools will eventually be coming onto BindyChaos.com. Yes, they haven't been a tool there in a while. That's because moved from using LabVIEW and what's the tool called? G Web Development Software, which is also from National Instruments, moved from that to Python. So yes, it's been quite a steep learning curve for me. You can see the previous videos. I talk about it a lot, actually doing it live, doing the learning. Hopefully we can learn together. But eventually, so all these tools, yes, they're still running. They're on the server. You can test them. There's some description that I can't write myself, so I was using ChatGPT and other LLMs to actually write that. I thought I was placing a disclaimer. Pretty sure there's a disclaimer in the overview section. It's the LLM. No. Chat. No. Pretty sure I added it. I have to double check. But yes, there should be a disclaimer. Well, there's a lot of disclaimers, but then another new one is that I'm using large language models to help me write this type of text and other types of text. Yeah, just a quick review of the available tools. There's about, I don't know how many, 12 or so. This basic neural network training. It's trying to predict this noisy sinusoid, and you can see its performance over time. You can play around with that. Hopefully it's actually implemented correctly. These things seem to be correct, but then the first and second hidden layer, not entirely sure. But yeah, it's just for testing, prototyping, learning. There are also videos. There's this short and longer video, and how I developed it also will be available in early live stream. So come back to Barnikeo's site sometime soon, sometime in the future. For now, come back to the fingerspelling, finger recognition. Let's see, where did we leave off last time? Just run this code again. It is training a model, a transformer model. We already trained it. Its performance is so-so, but that's okay because we are just learning. So what this one takes, it's okay, 8.5 seconds to run. Again, this is what the data looks like. You have these coordinates of fingers of someone spelling a certain phrase or phrases. So we have the ground truth for the phrases and the finger coordinates, not just the tips, as you saw, 20, 21 locations on the hand. And we're getting an error. Yes, this is the one we were struggling with yesterday, and we were trying to use Bing. I couldn't get it to help me out. I'm also using from Vivine Visual Studio Code. I'm also using tab 9, which is a kinda replacement for a Copilot. And we also using what's called a stack captain. So it's actually searching Stack Overflow. I don't know if you can, let me check something. No, you cannot see that. Sorry, this was always yesterday as well. This was blocked by, so this will be at the bottom left of my screen there. One second, just trying to fix my OBS. Right. How do I display that as well? Probably too small. Yeah, just leave it at that. Yeah, you can see my CPU usage and the like. I'm currently using 64% GPU. That's for the live streaming. And for the model training, I was actually using the CPU because TensorFlow from quite recently would not, essentially will practically it would not work on Windows, on native Windows. There are some workarounds, but they're very inconvenient. So you really have to essentially, TensorFlow, which was developed by Google, is essentially trying to prevent you using Windows. They want you to do something else, and that is being Linux. So a Captain Stack says here, finished loading with 5 results. Is giving you can flick through results in here. A good thing, it has the source, which obviously the Copilot or ChatGPT, whatever the new thing called, the code interpreter. I don't know, I haven't used it, but I assume they would not provide you links or references for the actual source of where they take the code, which is a big no-no. Um, they're just trying to understand the difference between saving the model and just saving weights alone. Because we save the model, sorry, we save the weights when after training the data, and now we're trying to load the weights. We're having difficulties doing so. So hopefully I don't need to rebuild the model. Hopefully I can still use it. It's about 200 megabyte file. And also, to make things even more confusing, we have this GitHub repository that is quite interesting. It does this letter recognition. Seem to be doing pretty well. I don't know why. The advanced detected gestures showing something totally different. I don't know, it seemed to be showing the previous one or something. It's like lagging. It's nice. You have the some results there running. Can't really tell what is it showing, but it's really cool. Um, this was published like 3 years ago, updated last year, and there meant to be this demo running, but it comes up with 402 payment required. So I don't know what's this Vercel app where it was deployed, but obviously, uh, yeah, Vercel is working, connection is working, but deployment has been disabled. So that's what you get for deploying somewhere. You have to probably do it yourself. I mean, no company will be. I'm sure Windows will not be deploying on AWS or vice versa. So we actually downloaded this code, and how about first thing first, because that's actually will be a nice addition to Bionic Chaos. Yes, there's an open source license for it, permissive, and we would like to use it. So how do we do it? We will add this start a new library probably. So actually, yeah, I was a bit having trouble with this thing because I have a Python. So this window, this Python is actually running this code. That's the face recognition there. So I probably have to open another one. We will open a folder. We have it in here. Hand sign TensorFlow master, select folder. And we should have a simple AI-based ASL alphabet. Should have a JavaScript, a package JSON file. Right, that's all the versions of all the dependencies that they need. Have the license. So yes, we need to include what's it say, redistribution use in source and binary forms with or without modifications are permitted, provided the following conditions are met. So it's essentially sharing this license. So we will make sure we do that. We have the settings, Visual Studio Code settings. I didn't know you can change settings like that. That's quite handy. You just, how do you actually run it? I don't know. And there should be about, yes, we already seen that. Finger joints. Yeah, I think there should be, yeah, 21. It's a standard thing. Image, I don't know what this image is. Meta tags. Not sure about that. And there's some images. I guess this will be the location of it. How do we, let's just start a new thing. Hey, this is but this is not about the GitHub. What if we just paste the text, hand signs about?
The GitHub repository you linked is for a project called HandSign, which is a simple AI-based hand gesture recognition project that translates a hand pose into the American Sign Language, ASL, alphabet. It uses TensorFlow JS and its hand pose preloaded model to detect the hand object and its parts. HandSign also uses an additional library called Fingerpose to classify certain of custom hand gestures based on the finger position. To install and run HandSign, you can follow the instructions in the link to readme.md file on the GitHub repository. You will need to have Node.js and Yarn installed on your machine. Once you have installed the dependencies, you can run the following commands to start the project. Git clone link to GitHub. cd handsign TensorFlow. Yarn install. Yarn dev. This will start the project on your local machine at link to
Yarn?
localhost. You can then use your webcam to test the hand gesture recognition functionality. Here are some of the features of HandSign. It can recognize the 26 letters of the ASL alphabet. It can also recognize some common ASL gestures, such as hello and goodbye. It is easy to use and install. It is open source, so you can modify it to add new features or improve the accuracy of the gesture recognition.
That's great. What's Yarn?
Yarn is a package manager for Node.js. It is a replacement for NPM, and it is designed to be faster, more efficient, and more secure. Yarn uses a different package format than NPM, and it also has a different command line interface. Some of the benefits of using Yarn include faster installation and dependency resolution, more efficient package management, improved security, better compatibility with other package managers. If you are a Node.js developer, I recommend using Yarn instead of NPM. It is a better tool for managing your packages, and it will make your development workflow more efficient. Here are some of the key differences between Yarn and NPM. Yarn uses a different package format, which is more efficient and secure. Yarn has a This looks like a great project. The code is well organized and easy to follow. They especially like the use of the Chakra UI library to style the components. The use effect hook is also a nice touch, as it ensures that the hand pose model is only loaded once. I have a few suggestions for improvement. You could add some more comments to the code to explain what each part is doing. This would make it easier for other people to understand and contribute to the project. You could also add some unit tests to the code to ensure that it is working correctly. This would help to prevent bugs from being introduced into the project. Finally, you could add some more features to the project, such as the ability to save and load hand gestures. This would make the project more versatile and useful. Overall, this is a great project with a lot of potential.
That's great. How to run this JavaScript file in Visual Studio Code? The good thing about Bing is when you ask it questions, it already starts talking before generating the whole thing. And it's not generating like at once, like Bard does, like it just did. It's actually spitting out like sentence by sentence.
To run this JavaScript file in Visual Studio Code, you can follow these steps. 1. Open the file in Visual Studio Code. 2. Click on the Run button in the toolbar. 3. In the Run dialog, select the Launch option. 4.
I don't have the run button in the toolbar. Obviously I need to install an extension.
If you don't have the Run button in the toolbar, you can add it by following these steps. 1. Open the command palette, Ctrl+Shift+P. 2. Type Run and select the Run extension command. 3. In the Run extension dialog, select the Debugger for Chrome extension. 4. Click on the Install button. Once you have installed the Debugger for Chrome extension, the Run button will be added to the toolbar. You can then run the Java
In Visual Studio Code. Or .js. But it seems to be losing context of previous conversation. Making sense. And no. So if I open, let me just check. New file. Right, because I only have Python and Jupyter Notebook installed. Yes, and this one has a run button. Where's my thing? Index. Yeah, this one. JS. .js. How to install JavaScript in Visual Studio Code. WebJSX. So I do use IIS. JavaScript. How about WebJSX?
JSX, or JavaScript XML, is a syntax extension for JavaScript that allows you to write HTML-like code in JavaScript. This makes it easier to write and maintain complex UIs in JavaScript. To use JSX in Visual Studio Code, you need to install the JSX extension. Once the extension is installed, you can start writing JSX code in your JavaScript files. Here is an example of JSX code.
That's okay. There's not much explanation. There's almost 6,000 downloads. How about WebJSX by Safe Online World? So I would like to be able to deploy right. This looks the proper extension.
Here are the steps on how to install JavaScript in Visual Studio Code. 1. Open Visual Studio Code. 2. Click on the Extensions icon in the sidebar. 3. In the search bar, type JavaScript. 4. Select the JavaScript ES6 S 2015 extension. 5. Click on the Install button. The JavaScript extension will be installed and enabled. You can now start writing JavaScript code in Visual Studio Code. Here are some additional things to keep in mind. The JavaScript extension includes a number of features that make it easier to write and debug JavaScript code. You can also use the JavaScript extension to run JavaScript code in a web browser. If you are new to JavaScript, there are a number of resources available online that can help you learn the language. I hope this helps. Webjet Limited, ASX, Web, is an Australian online travel agency that
What did it say? It's called WebJSX. There's the problem of WebJSX by Safe Online World is the name.
WebJSX is a JavaScript library that allows you to use JSX to create web applications. It is based on the React library, but it is designed to be more lightweight and easier to use. To use WebJSX, you need to install the WebJSX package. Once the package is installed, you can start using JSX in your web applications. Here is an example of WebJSX code. Import render from WebJSX const element equals less than div greater than less than h1 greater than hello world less than h1 greater than.
Pretty sure Bing is actually being a bit faster. So how do I... I can only change the last prompt. Cannot change anything beforehand. If I repeat, oh come on, yes, repeat.
WebJSX is a server-side JavaScript framework that runs with iOS, Apache, and Nginx. It is developed by Safe Online World. You can find more information about it on their GitHub page or on the Visual Studio Marketplace. They also have a repository of snippets for web_JSX on their GitHub page.
How to run JavaScript in Visual Studio Code. Do I need to restart it? Pretty sure I need to restart it because I installed a thing. Repeat.
To run JavaScript in Visual Studio Code, you can follow these steps. Download and install Node.js on your computer. Open the JavaScript file that you want to run. Open VS Code's terminal by clicking Terminal, New Terminal, or clicking Ctrl plus Shift plus keys, CMD plus Shift plus P for Mac. In the terminal, type node file_name.js where file_name.js is the name of your JavaScript file. Alternatively, you can install the Code Runner extension and then just select the part of the code you want to run and hit the Run button present on the upper right corner on VS Code terminal. I hope that helps.
It doesn't. Let's select do I need a JavaScript interpreter?
Searching for, do I need a JavaScript interpreter to run JavaScript? Yes, you need a JavaScript interpreter to run JavaScript. Most browsers have a JavaScript interpreter that understands JavaScript and runs JavaScript programs. However, since JavaScript is an interpreted language, you need an interpreter. For the interpreter to run, you need some other language. I hope that helps.
What? What interpreter? It gave me resources before.
Visual Studio Code, VSC, is one of the most popular and widely used code editors used by developers. Even our team here at Let's know that JavaScript is built for browsers In a JavaScript file in Visual Studio Code, you must have Node.js installed on your machine, Windows, Mac, Linux. First, download the latest stable release from the official website. Once downloaded, run the installer and complete the installation process. 2. Verify Node installation. Once the installation is complete, it's time to make sure it is available. To verify if Node is installed or not, follow the step below. Open your CMD in Windows or Terminal on Mac. And check for the Node version using the command Node v. If you get the Node version, it means that Node is successfully installed and is available in your system. Perfect till now, follow the third step. 3. Run JavaScript in Visual Studio Code. Open your Visual Studio Code editor. The terminal in Visual Studio Code. Once you have the terminal open, use the cd command to change the directory and navigate to the directory/folder you have saved your JavaScript program file. Finally, to run command to change the directory and navigate to the directory/folder you have saved your JavaScript program file. Finally, to run JavaScript in Visual Studio Code terminal, use the below command node filename.js.
Why is it not automated? Repeat.
This error message usually occurs when the Node.js runtime environment is not installed on your computer or the path to the Node.js executable is not set in your system's environment variables. You can try reinstalling Node.js and make sure that you add it to your system's path environment variable. If you have already installed Node.js, you can try restarting your computer and then running the command again. I hope that helps.
The error message, the term node is not recognized as the name of a CMD-let, function, script file, or operable program, means that the command node is not recognized by the operating system. This can happen for a few reasons. The node command is not installed on the system. The node command is not in the path. The node command is misspelled. To fix this error, you need to make sure that the node command is installed and that it is in the path. You can do this by following these steps. 1. Check if Node.js is installed on your system. You can do this by opening a command prompt and typing node v. If Node.js is installed, you will see the version number of Node.js. If Node.js is not installed, you can download it from the Node.js website, linked to nodeace.org. 2. Add the Node.js directory to the path. The path is a list of
Yeah, installing Node.js. Hopefully this doesn't take long. Yes, so it was installed correctly. Still not recognized. Why? Because in my CMD it's saying okay. The other question is, how do I debug this thing? Row error. Module not found. What? This the wait, where's the file? So it's running, but still giving me a syntax error. So the question is, how to yes, I installed it already. Okay, let's I think we're quite obvious that we are stuck a bit. This code is what running the face recognition. We installed the Node.js successfully. But still getting a syntax error. Go back to the model that we are running. Repeat.
This error message usually occurs when you try to use an import statement outside a module. The import statement is part of the ES6 module system and is not supported in the CommonJS module system that Node.js uses by default. To use the import statement in Node.js, you need to either use a transpiler like Babel to convert your code to CommonJS or use their experimental modules flag when running your code. I hope that helps.
Experimental modules. Same thing. What did Bart say?
The error message, syntax error, cannot use import statement outside a module, means that you are trying to use the import statement outside of a module. The import statement is used to load modules into JavaScript code. Modules are self-contained pieces of code that can be reused in other JavaScript code. To fix this error, you need to make sure that the import statement is inside of a module. You can do this by creating a new file with the JS extension and then placing the import statement inside of the file. For example, the following code will create a module called myModule.js and then import the math module into the myModule.js file, my_module.js. Import math from math const pi equals math pi console link to .log pi 3.141592653589793. Once you have created the my_module.js file, you can run it by opening a command prompt and typing the following command: node my_module.js This will run the my underscore module JS file and print the value of pi to the console. If you are still getting the error message after you have followed these steps, you can try checking the spelling of the import statement.
And we'll come back to this bit later. Get it running. This is the one. We actually have running this code, but then so that's just running a Python code. And seemed to be okay to also run a notebook at the same time. And this notebook, as mentioned earlier, also giving us an error. We'll start again in Bard. But we give it the whole code. Let's stop generating. No, there's no stop generating button.
Sure, I can help you with that. The code you have provided is for training a transformer model for ASLFR. The model is first initialized with the following parameters: num underscore hid, the number of hidden units in the transformer layers; num underscore head, the number of attention heads in the transformer layers; num feed forward, the number of units in the feed forward layer of the transformer layers; source underscore maxlen, the maximum length of the input sequences; target underscore maxlen, the maximum length of the output sequences; num layers enc, the number of encoder layers in the transformer model; num layers dec, the number of decoder layers in the transformer model; num underscore classes, the number of output classes. The model is then compiled with the atom optimizer and the categorical cross-entropy loss function. The model is then trained on the training dataset for 15 epochs. The validation dataset is used to monitor the training progress and to prevent overfitting. If the model checkpoint file does not exist, the model is saved after training. Otherwise, the model weights are loaded from the checkpoint file. The following code shows how to load the model weights from the checkpoint file. The load underscore model function loads the model architecture in weights from the checkpoint file. The build property of the model can be used to check if the model weights were loaded successfully. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
That's the code that do we need this? Pretty sure I already tried it. Comment this out for a sec. A model. Yes, we imported Keras already. Have Keras model, load model, model checkpoint. If model build, else that's the same code. Used to check the model, blah blah. That's the previous error that we get.
The error message you are getting is because you are trying to load the weights of a subclassed model into a model that has not been built yet. Subclassed models are not supported by the HDF5 format, so you need to build the model before you can load the weights. To fix this error, you can add the following code to your program. This code will build the model and then load the weights from the checkpoint file. Here is a breakdown of what the code does. The build method of the model class builds the model architecture. This method needs to be called before you can load the weights of a subclass model. The load_weights method of the model class loads the weights from the checkpoint file. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
So that's the bit that goes together with oh, right now it's actually doing something useful.
The error message value error, no model config found in the file at, means that the HDF5 file you are trying to load does not contain a model configuration. The model configuration is a JSON.
No, that's okay. Can get rid of that. And now it seems to be actually doing something.
The error message you are getting is because the input shape of the conv1d6 layer is not compatible with the layer's requirements. The conv1d6 layer expects the input shape to have at least 3 dimensions, but the input shape you are providing has only 1 dimension. To fix this error, you need to change the input shape of the conv1d_6 layer to have 3 dimensions. You can do this by adding a batch dimension to the input shape. For example, if the input shape is currently 128, you can change it to 128. Here is an example of how to change the input shape of the conv1d_6 layer. This code will add a batch dimension to the input shape and then add the conv1d_6 layer. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Didn't I already do this model compile, model fit, model weights? The build go first, is it? So get it right. What's the frame length? It's 64 something, is it? 128. So it's a standard thing to use. That should be okay.
The error message you are getting is the same as the previous error message, but it is referring to the conv1d12 layer instead of the conv1d6 layer. The reason for the error is the same as the previous error. The input shape of the conv1d_12 layer is not compatible with the layer's requirements. To fix this error, you need to change the input shape of the conv1d_12 layer to have 3 dimensions. You can do this by adding a batch dimension to the input shape. For example, if the input shape is currently 128, you can change it to 128. Here is an example of how to change the input shape of the conv1d_12 layer. This code will add a batch dimension to the input shape and then add the conv1d_12 layer. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Okay, I'm confused. Not giving me much, does it? Won't give me anything. Let's try Bing again. Like references and stuff. It's not telling me to use 3 of those. How many? They're all the same. The same error.
You are correct. The error message you are getting is the same as the previous 2 error messages. The reason for the error is that the input shape of the conv1d_15 layer is not compatible with the layer's requirements. To fix this error, you need to change the input shape of the conv1d_15 layer to have 3 dimensions. You can do this by adding a batch dimension to the input shape. For example, if the input shape is currently 128, you can change it to 128. Here is an example of how to change the input shape of the conv1d_15 layer. This code will add a batch dimension to the input shape and then add the conv1d_15 layer. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions. In addition to adding a batch dimension to the input shape, you can also change the input shape argument of the model class constructor to include a batch dimension. For example, you can change the input shape argument to 1 frame_len. Here is an example of how to change the input_shape argument of the model class constructor. This code will create a model with a batch dimension of 1. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
I don't get it because that's how we created the model. So this one the same. 400 frame length, 64 to 162. It has the input shape. That it over there.
You are correct. The error message you are getting is because the input shape argument is not a valid argument for the transformer class constructor. The transformer class constructor does not require the input shape argument, so you should not pass it in. To fix this error, you can remove the input_shape argument from the transformer class constructor. For example, you can change the code to, this code will create a model without the input_shape argument. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Where am I defining history? I think I need to train again.
You are correct. The error message you are getting is because the display output's callback is not a valid callback for the fit method. The fit method only accepts callbacks that inherit from the TF carers callback class. The display outputs class does not inherit from the TF carers callback class, so it is not a valid callback for the fit method. To fix this error, you can either change the display outputs class to inherit from the TF carers callback class, use a different
Yeah, let's start. Interesting, you can upload a file.
What? You can now pick up where you left off with your past borrowed conversations and organize them according to your needs. We've added the ability to pin conversations, rename them, and have multiple conversations going at once.
It's interesting. They have very similar tools with OpenAI. It's a bit that they obviously like competing with each other. Because as soon as OpenAI gave an option to share conversation, but also has it, and this is off this week.
What? We're introducing 5 new options to help you modify Bard's responses. Just tap to make the response simpler, longer, shorter, more professional, or more casual.
Right.
What? We're continuing to expand Bard's export capabilities for code. You can now export Python code to Replit in addition to Google Colab.
Starting with English, what?
What? Starting with English, we've updated Bard to detect computational prompts and run code in the background, making Bard better at mathematical tasks, coding questions, and string manipulation.
More than to Google Sheets. I'm not using Google Sheets anymore, so.
What? Bard can start providing more relevant responses if you choose to let it use your device's precise location. You can manage your preferences in location settings.
No.
What? Starting with English responses, Bard can now bring in images from Google Search, so you can get helpful responses with visuals. You can also ask Bard for images directly. Bard will show a source for each image. What? We've updated Bard with better summarization capabilities by incorporating advances we've developed in our large language models.
I start a new one, delete. Can you return Bionic Chaos image? Bionic Chaos image. Oops. So how do I? Yeah, there's no option to stop generating. Let's try it again. It's returning that. Why? Why is it off Twitter? I'm pretty sure I have a different Twitter thingy going on. Where's the clear button? Here it is. That's okay. There's obviously a problem with this code. Just can't get to the bottom of it. Can ask. Repeat.
This is a code snippet written in Python. It is defining a model checkpoint path and instantiating a transformer model with some hyperparameters. The code then loads the validation dataset and sets up a callback function to display the outputs of the model during training. The loss function and optimizer are defined and the model is compiled. If the model checkpoint file does not exist, The code trains the model for 15 epochs and saves the weights to file. If the file does exist, the code loads the weights from file into the model. The code then builds a new convolutional layer on top of the loaded model and loads its weights from file as well.
Repeat. Why is it a problem? I was having it yesterday as well. What is it so bad that I'm doing? Why is it so sensitive? Would it save the chat? Yeah, I think it's saving it somewhere, but I can't see it. Also not entirely sure. Stop responding. Stop responding. Why is it taking forever to cancel? I have the code in the first prompt and the error in the second prompt. Could you explain?
Sure. I'd be happy to help. Could you please provide me with the code and error messages so that I can better understand the issue?
I had this yesterday as well. I couldn't get past this thing. So that's the code. Is it responding? It's not actually doing anything. Bum, 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 bum. Ah, right. Yep, it's kinda hopeless. Load the model weights. Yeah, how about we start a new topic just to there. We'll say some rubbish. I don't know what you're talking about. The Stack Overflow. So if model exists, Input shape. It's suggesting changing input shape. I have to change the input shape. Input shape. That doesn't look. Maybe I don't need this. What is my input shape? How to check model's shape? Is it H5? I have a model file saved in H5 file. How to check its shape?
Searching for how to check shape of H5 file. You can use the H5py library to load the H5 file and access its contents. Here is an example code snippet that you can use to check the shape of your model. Import H5py. With H5py file, your underscore model.h5 r as f. For key in f.keys. Print key. For subkey in f key.keys. Print subkey. Print f key subkey dot shape. This code will print out the name of each layer in your model along with its shape. You can modify this code to suit your needs. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
And this is the file. This should be read only. Sorry. So it's reducing dense, returning dense 6 transformer, giving an error. Doesn't have an attribute shape. There's something wrong about how the model is saved. Repeat.
Sure. How can I help you?
Repeat last answer.
Here is the last response I gave you. The error message you received indicates that you are trying to access the shape attribute of a group object which does not have this attribute. You can only access the shape attribute of a dataset object. To check the shape of your model, you need to load the H5 file and access the shape attribute of the corresponding dataset. Here is an example code snippet that you can use. Import H5py. With H5py file, your underscore model.h5 r as f. For key in f.keys. Print key. For subkey in f key.keys. Print subkey. If isinstance f key subkey h5py dataset. Print f key subkey dot shape. This code will print out the name of each layer in your model along with its shape. You can modify this code to suit your needs. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Yeah, that helps a lot. The same, isn't it? So none of the layers have a shape, has a shape parameter. And why not? So this where is this stuff coming from? Don't really understand this code. Yeah, I couldn't use my GPU for whatever reason. It's also because of TensorFlow changing something, and it's much harder to do training on GPU in Windows natively. Well, there's some workarounds, but it's too difficult. So run this again. It does give me the list of all the layers. Could you give a general overview of a transformer model? While we run
Searching
this code.
for Transformer Model Overview. The transformer model is a type of deep learning architecture commonly used in machine learning and artificial intelligence for natural language processing tasks. It allows machine learning models to process text in a bidirectional manner, which allows them to gather information about a word from different parts of a sentence, both before and after the word's appearance. The transformer model uses self-attention to make sense of language sequences, allowing for parallel processing and faster performance. The model applies an evolving set of mathematical techniques, called attention or self-attention, to detect subtle ways even distant data elements in a series influence and depend on each other. The transformer model was first described in a 2017 paper from Google. Since then, it has become one of the most powerful classes of models invented to date. Transformers are among the newest and most powerful classes of models invented to date. They are driving a wave of advances in machine learning some have dubbed Transformer AI. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
This thing. Oh, come on. Where's my bot? I thought we said we're gonna be using bot today, not Bing.
The model, save weights, model checkpoint, method saves the weights of a Keras model to a file. The file format used is either HDF5 or TensorFlow, depending on the save format argument. The model checkpoint argument is the path to the file where the weights will be saved. Here is an example of how to use the model, save_weights, method. This code will save the weights of the model to the file model checkpoint, H5 in HDF5 format. The weights can then be loaded back into the model using the model, loadWeights, method. Here are some of the arguments of the model, save_weights, method, file path, the path to the file where the weights will be saved. Save_format, the format of the file to save the weights in. The default value is H5. Overwrite, whether to overwrite the file if it already exists. The default value is false. Save format history, whether to save the save format history in the file. The default value is false. For more information, please see the Keras documentation on saving weights, linked to keras.io.
Yeah, I'll say bye-bye. And we'll keep going till interrupted, like now.
The model, loadWeights, model checkpoint, method loads the weights of a Keras model from a file. The file format used is either HDF5 or TensorFlow, depending on the save format argument used when the weights were saved. The model checkpoint argument is the path to the file where the weights are saved. Here is an example of how to use the model, load_weights, method. This code will load the weights of the model from the file model_checkpoint, H5. The weights can then be used to evaluate the model or to continue training the model. Here are some of the arguments of the model, load_weights, method, file path, the path to the file where the weights are saved. By _name, whether to load the weights by name, the default value is false. Skip_mismatch, whether to skip loading layers that do not have weights saved. The default value is false. For more information, please see the Keras documentation on loading weights, linked to keras.io. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.